Over the weekend, a driver reportedly targeted striking Alabama miners. According to reporter Kim Kelly, a miner's wife told her that a Chevy Colorado with a, quote, longwall boss at the wheel drove into two striking UMWA miners in front of the number 7 north entrance to the Warrior Met mine. This is the 5th known vehicular attack on the picket line.
Roughly 1,100 mine workers in Alabama have been on strike since April. The workers are protesting concessions they had to make back in 2016 to help Warrior Met financially, such as losing premium pay for Sundays and long shifts, going from 11 paid company holidays per year to 3, and consenting to a higher share of health care costs than under previous contracts. One worker estimates that he now earns $20,000 less per year than he did 6 years ago, before the mine emerged from bankruptcy under the ownership of Warrior Met Coal. Labor reporter and author of Fight Like Hell, The Untold History of American Labor, Kim Kelly, joins us now to discuss. Welcome, Kim.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So what is the current state of the fight between these striking workers and their bosses?
Well, they just hit the 5-month mark. They've been out since April 1st, and now I'm talking on April 2nd. So it's been a long slog already. Just last week, hundreds of them actually came up to New York City from Alabama, as well as Kentucky and West Virginia and Pennsylvania, to stage a mass protest in front of BlackRock, who are a majority investor in Warrior Met Coal. They wanted to show, we're not going anywhere, we're not giving up. They're trying to get some more attention because public pressure and media coverage are really going to be kind of what tips the balance here, because they're down in rural Alabama. It's them against this giant mine. The mine bosses have been allowing their employees to attack them, to act with incredible hostility, to put several people in the hospital. It's getting pretty ugly. I mean, a lot of us have seen Harlan County, this is kind of our current version of that. And next week...
Yeah, go ahead, Kim, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, next week they're having, the UMWA, their union, is having an even bigger event in Alabama with thousands of mine workers from across the South and across the country are going to be taking buses out to have a mass rally to show support for their striking siblings. Because at this point, they've been out for so long, they really need all the help they can get.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to figure out who these people are that are attacking these striking miners. I mean, I don't think it's the investors, right, that are taking and attacking. I mean, what is the motivation? What's the beef?
I mean, the thing is, this is a very tight-knit community, right? And the folks have worked in these mines for years, if not decades. People know one another. When these attacks happen, people recognize your truck. They recognize the people doing this. And I think all the animosity kind of comes from, are you a scab or are you a union worker? Like, are you going to respect the picket line? Are you going to respect your coworkers and their struggle and their lives? Or are you going to cross that line and side with the company? I mean, that's a deep-rooted thing, right? Like crossing a picket line, I feel like everyone should know you don't do that. And when you're in this kind of community where you can look across and see, like, hey, that's my buddy that I worked with for 10 years, and he's going over there, he's crossing the line, he's driving in, like, of course you're going to, shout a few things, you're going to make your feelings known. But there hasn't been that kind of violence on the side of the strikers. There have been these employees of the mine, scabs and bosses particularly, who have been driving into the picket lines and injuring people, and they've been getting away with it. The local police have done nothing.
Yeah, what has been the law enforcement reaction there?
A lot of shrugs. From what I hear from folks down there, they don't seem that interested in chasing down the perpetrators. They don't seem that interested in the reports. The police there are on the sides of the bosses. It's unfortunate to say, there's also private armed security that the company has brought in. Of course, they know what side they're on. I think it's been really frustrating and scary for folks out on the line because they have this feeling that they're on their own. Like, this is not, it's not like when you picket in front of a supermarket or a business on a main drag. This is a rural area. There's no cell phone service out there. These are very isolated areas. Like, these are, dirt roads. There's a lot that can happen when, there's no oversight, when the cops aren't on your side, when people aren't looking out for you. And it's been happening. Just on Saturday night, I got a text from a friend down there about 2 more guys who got hit by someone that they recognized.
It just seems so bizarre, that some of their, fellow people that they know in their community would be attacking them. And, I mean, are they just trying to get through the road, and is that their excuse? Or, I mean, is there really, moving on from that though, is there really any sort of movement on this negotiation, I guess, if you want to call it that, with the companies? Does it look like there's any end in sight?
The company has not come to the table with anything meaningful in weeks, if not months. At one point, the executives went on vacation because they were stressed out about what was going on. Meanwhile, over 1,000 workers and their families are struggling to put food on the table. It's the prevailing sort of mood that workers tell me is that, they want to starve us out. They're trying to wait them out. The mine
Yeah.
is still operational, even though it's at reduced capacity. Their finances are already not what they usually would be because of the pandemic and other market forces. The company's trying to wait them out, but I don't think they reckoned with the idea that miners would stay out this long. Like 5 months is a very long streak,
Yeah.
especially, in a place that hasn't been on strike in 40 years. This is the biggest labor action in Alabama in 4 decades. There's a lot riding on it.
Right, we don't see strikes of this length very often in the United States. Why do you think it happened here and it hasn't happened elsewhere?
I think one thing that's allowed it to sustain itself for so long is there are these incredibly strong community bonds, family bonds with local churches, local businesses. There's a very robust mutual aid structure that's been organized by the wives and spouses and veteran miners, like folks who are involved in the auxiliary. They've already had this network of helping folks out. Like that's kind of a hallmark of rural areas, right? Like there's not that much around to depend on, so you depend on your people. So they've been able to keep things going. The union's been extremely supportive. It's been cutting strike checks every 2 weeks. Folks have been collecting groceries. There has been support and donations from other unions in the labor movement. And I think the fact that we haven't seen something this big in so long, especially in a place like Alabama, that's a right to work state, deep red legislator, no one in power there is going to help these guys. So it's really just on the movement to sustain them. And I think that's really what's happening. It's purely solidarity and grit and determination.
Well, Kim Kelly, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Kim.
Thank you for covering this story.
Tomorrow on Rising, Jennifer Holdsworth-Karp and Rachel Bovard are Team Rising.
We're also joined by Richard Hanania and Ryan Gordusky. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye-bye.